Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put it on.
Gloaming.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. And I'll put the browser on. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll look up this word. And then once we've done this, we've just sort of come across this topic by serendipity. There's a good word for you all, serendipity. Because we've come across this topic by serendipity, we'll then get into some things after that. So yeah, so if I was to look up gloam, first of all, or gloaming, you see it says twilight or dusk. See that?
Mm.
Hundreds of lights are already shimmering in the gloaming. So that in the gloaming is that time in the evening where it's not dark.
Yeah.
And it's not light. It's between the two. And the lights are gradually going down. So that's the gloaming. Did you know that word, Clat?
Yeah, I think when I was in Edinburgh, I experienced the gloaming because I have memory that when I stand on the Princess Street and I can see like in the end the like the gloaming thing.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, that's a good word to know. Okay. Good word to know.
Good.
Did you know that word, Tlahui?
No, not really. Actually, I don't know how to say this in Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Have you heard of dusk?
Yes.
Yeah. Or twilight?
Yep, for the movie.
Yeah. I've never actually watched Twilight, but yeah. But all of these words here, right? Twilight, dusk, and gloaming are all essentially describing the same thing. Okay? They're just different words. And that's good if you're writing poetry, because then you can jump from one term to the other. Okay. Yeah, and then the other word I used there was serendipity. Anybody know what that means?
No.
There's a movie called Serendipity. Tahui, do you know what it means?
I don't know, but I heard this before.
Yeah. So serendipity means by chance. Okay. I was walking down the street and I bumped into Tahui. I met her by serendipity. Now, what that means is it's by chance, but it's a good chance, right? So like, if something happens by chance, something can happen that's very positive or something that can happen that's negative. And if it's a positive and a pleasant experience, we say by serendipity. The occurrence and development of events by chance, this is the key thing, in a happy or beneficial way. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. A fortunate stroke of serendipity. And there's a little bit of etymology here. Coined by Horace Walpole, suggested by the Three Princes of Serendip, the title of a fairy tale in which the heroes were always making discoveries by accidents and sagacity. Here's another good word I'll explain in a minute, of things which were not in quest of, right? So in this story, they kept finding things and there were good things. And so this is where the expression has come from. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So serendipity is the experience. And I'm just checking in case anybody else was joining us. And then here's another good word, sagacity, right? Sagacity. And this is a very uncommon word. Serendipity is fairly common, sagacity, a bit less common. And you can understand where sagacity comes from if you know the word sage. What's a sage? Okay, a sage is a wise person, okay? A wise person. It's also some accounting software, which is what the search is bringing up. Oh yeah. Interesting. It's not defining it for me. So sage is also something you put. It's a herb. A herb. You know what a herb is? Yeah. The Americans say herb. Americans don't pronounce the H. They say herb. Herbs and spices. Have you heard that, Tahu? Would you say herb or would you say herb?
Herb.
Herb. You pronounce the H. Yeah. Hi, Shweta.
Good morning, sir. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So Shweta is one of the people that's been in my class since the very beginning. So there you go. Yeah, and Shweta was the one that encouraged me to set up this class, actually. So you've got her to thank for that. And Alice is joining. That's great. Yeah. So yeah. So that's what sage is, and yeah. So I'm unhappy with the definition of sage here. Let's look it up in a dictionary. Here's Cambridge Dictionary. It's, yeah, here, this is the definition I was looking for, wise, right? Especially as a result of great experience. And so we would use this expression, sage advice, right? So when Jing sat down with me to discuss her future in employment, and I tried to give her some sage advice. See that? Sage advice. That's the idea of wise. Wise of it. Wise. You see? And, or my sage old grandfather, right? So that's a statement saying, you could say my wise old grandfather. Okay. And we got to the word sage as a stepping stone to get to the word sagacity. Right? Sagacity, which comes from the word sage. The quality of having or showing understanding and the ability to make good judgments. They showed their usual practical sagacity. His air of kindness and sagacity tempts people to confide in him. Right? His air of kindness and sagacity tempts people to confide in him. Does everybody understand that statement? I'm just going to bring up the chat window because I noticed that Alice has joined, and say, hi, Alice. I know you can't speak because of where you are, but you can certainly type in the chat window, which I've brought up. Okay, so feel free to do that. And you guys can all thank Alice for coming up for this time because she picked it. I said, Alice, you decide what time will work for you, and maybe it would work for Wenjing and Wee Son as well. Happens to work for the others in the east, so we've got Shweta. And by amazing serendipity, Tahui, am I saying it right? Who only joined the group yesterday, said, I'm going to join too, even though she's from Mexico. And it's currently 2 a.m. in the morning. So,
Yes, it's too early.
so
Or too late, maybe.
So she's crazy. No matter how much I want to learn, I do want to learn Espanol, but I'm not going to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to learn it. Right.
Yes, really. I'm gonna sleep soon.
Okay. Right. We're all on the same page. Okay. Now, so we got to sagacity and we've got to serendipity. Right. So we've done a few words already this morning, which are good words, what I would call good words. We'll maybe come to some practical, easier words in a moment. But we've done sagacity, we've done sage, we've done gloaming, we've done twilight, and dusk, describing what it's like when it's getting dark. It's now dawn. And so the opposite, it's always good when you're trying to understand a word is to look at the opposite of the word. So the opposite of dusk is dawn, and it's currently dawn. And even you can see, since Wenjing commented on the light outside, you can see that it's brighter already. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's the dawn. And I'm guessing everybody would have known that word. The period of the day when light from the sun begins to appear in the sky. We woke at dawn. We left as dawn was breaking, i.e. starting. We left at the break of dawn. These are expressions that we use, break, associated with dawn. And here's the sun just peeking over the horizon. So that's the dawn. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Hi, Shweta.
Yeah, sir, just give me an example with using the word sagacity.
Okay. Good question. We'll look up examples in a moment, see what the web gives us, but I would say things like this. In conversation, she demonstrated sagacity beyond her years. See? And what I mean by that is in conversation with Shweta, she demonstrated to me sagacity beyond her years, in the sense that wisdom, I'm substituting it for wisdom. In many ways, sagacity and wisdom are really interchangeable. But wisdom is very common. Here's some examples. She showed wonderful sagacity in recognizing the danger at first glance. See, that's a similar statement to what I said, right? She showed wonderful sagacity, right? For all his brilliance and sagacity, there was something dishonest about him. Oh, right. So that's saying we're dealing with a character here, and there's something not quite right, right? He's not honest. Even though he's very intelligent, that's what brilliance means. And he appears wise. but you could be quite brilliant and wise, but also you could be dishonest. See that?
Yes, sir.
He was unconscious of his sagacity. So here was somebody who was wise, but they didn't really know he didn't have self-awareness, right? That he was wise, but other people thought him wise. Self-awareness is another good topic. And when I've got younger people under my care and work, I teach them self-awareness, right? Which means being aware of how you're coming over in the meeting. When you're interacting with other people in a social environment, like you almost want to have an out-of-body experience and say, if I look at myself in this setting here, how am I coming over? Am I trying to control everything? Am I being bossy? Or am I being meek? Am I fitting in? What is my mood like? Am I coming over as happy and helpful and wanting to be a team player? Or am I sulking? Am I making sense? You know, how we behave with others is very important, right? Very important. Because everybody wants to be liked, yeah, right? Okay, I'm saying that as a truism. That's a truism, right? Right. Everybody wants to be liked. Nobody wants to be unpopular. But at the same time, if you have backbone, if you've got backbone, then you won't do things only to please people, if I'm making sense. Now, I'm using backbone in the sense that if you think of a fish has a backbone and it gives it structural integrity. And the opposite of that would be something like a jellyfish, which has no bone in its body. The only hard thing in a jellyfish is its beak. But we use the term backbone in a metaphorical sense. If I was speaking about people, and so Wee Son climbed Everest. In order to do that, you would have to have real backbone, right? You know, it's real. That's maybe not the best example, because probably the right word would be determination, maybe there, determination. But backbone is used in a metaphorical sense to say that somebody has in their core, they've got something really strong in their core, right? And it's got nothing to do with physical strength, right? So I could say about Wen Jing, she's quite diminutive in stature, but she's really got backbone. Now that would be a very strong compliment, you see? So let's look how it's used here. It's being used here to describe physical things, right? She stood with her backbone rigid, which is a statement about being standing erect, right? She stood, yeah, as if to military attention kind of thing, right? Spine. We also say you have spine. And we use these words, spine and bone and backbone, metaphorically much more often. Here's an example. not about a person, but about an industry. Farming is the backbone of the country's economy. See that? Does that make sense? Farming is the backbone of the country's economy.
Like the base or the like I don't know how to say it.
Just try and say what you want to say and using different words. I didn't get what you were trying to say.
Like the structure of an
Yes, yes. It's like the structure, but it's more to do with the, like we would say, the chassis of a car is the thing that gives it structure. Yeah, it's the hard part. So your backbone in a person is the thing that makes them stand upright, right? It holds everything together. Everything is centered around the backbone. And so in an industry point of view, like I could say that the backbone of the Chinese economy is manufacturing. Right? To me, that's what China is known for. I don't know what Mexico is known for. I couldn't.
Farming too. I mean, since a few years ago, still be farming the backbone.
Farming. Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, here's an example which is touching on the idea that I wanted to convey, and that is courage and strength of character. Will he have the backbone to tell him what he thinks? See that? Now here the backbone is not the vertebrae. It's not all of those bones that go up and make up my spine. It's nothing to do with that. Will he have the backbone to tell them what he thinks? So what backbone here is referring to is strength of character. Everyone, does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hi, Mona.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks. So we've got a real cultural class today. We've got 7 in the class. You're from Iran, Shweta's from India, Tahui's from Mexico, Wee-san, Wenjing or Joy, and Alice are from China. Hey. I think this is one of the most, and I'm from Bonnie, Scotland.
So this is a worthy time because it suits for everyone. So that's why everyone joined here.
Yeah, except it's where Tahui is in Mexico. It's 2:30 in the morning, believe it or not. So that shows real backbone. Okay. So that is a backhanded compliment. Now there's a good expression. A backhanded compliment, right? Left-handed compliment. Yeah, okay. Also I've never heard of it as a left-handed compliment. It could be an insult, right? But it's not obviously in this case. It's where you say something and it's kind of like a compliment, but it's slightly indirect. That's a backhanded compliment. I've never heard it as a left-handed compliment. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Now, Another good expression is this cast aspersions. Anybody know what this means? To cast aspersions?
No.
We always use it with the word cast, you know, interestingly. So that's the way to learn it, right? And what does it mean? Where's the definition here? I don't want to learn about cast, I want to learn about aspersions. See the way in this particular dictionary, it's not really defining it for me. I don't really understand that. Disapproving and criticizing. Okay, well, it doesn't really feel like a definition, but let me look up a different dictionary. To criticize someone or something's actions or character harshly or unfairly. He tried to avoid casting aspersions on his political opponents. She cast aspersions on the integrity of her boss. So by casting aspersions, it means that she is saying some things that are cause questions to be asked, right? That's what the cast aspersions is. So as teacher, I wouldn't cast aspersions on anybody in the class. You know, I wouldn't do that. But because you're all heroes, right? But you know, people in the political situation, often to try and benefit themselves, they try to do that by putting others down in the vain hope that somehow people will think better of them because they're able to put somebody else down. That makes sense.
Yes, so.
Okay. So.
Sir, cast aspersion means asking cross questions, right? And what is the meaning of aspersions? To criticize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But having said that, it's funny in that when we use the word aspersions, we always say it with cast.
Okay.
Like I can never imagine saying I raised some aspersions about Shweta. I mean, technically you could say that, but everyone says cast aspersions. I don't know why.
Sir, if
Yeah.
we look on definition,
Yeah.
aspersion means to criticize. Okay. And cast aspersion is something else, like asking
No.
cross questions.
No.
These two things
No.
have different meaning.
No.
Yeah.
Cast aspersions is the idea of directing the criticism. So if aspersion is criticism, casting aspersions is the idea of directing the criticism at somebody. So Alan cast aspersions at Shweta, right? Which means he was directing criticism at Shweta. Yeah.
Somewhere it contains negative sentence, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
Is
well,
it like, sorry, is it like generate a doubt about and something that someone tell in any moment?
yeah, it's more to do with character than specific actions, right? So it's questioning the character of somebody, like
Okay.
their integrity. You know,
Okay.
would they be dishonest? You know, would they be bribed? Right. So, for example, Alan tried to cast aspersions on Shweta's character. However, Tahui knew her well and said, Shweta has got absolute integrity. She would never be bribed. Does that all make sense?
Yes, sir.
So here's an example, like, you know, she cast aspersions on the integrity of her boss. So,
So
like,
integrity means what?
what was that? Say,
Integrity.
integrity, yeah. You know what
Yeah.
that means? Yeah. Yeah, there's a famous quote. When people talk about integrity, they also talk about character, right? Character. The mental and moral qualities distinctive of an individual. Yeah. So I could talk about Shweta and I could say Shweta is a real character. And what I mean by that is she's got a distinctive personality, right? So that's just talking about the makeup of a person. Okay. How that they're wired, how that they think, right? But to have character is a statement about integrity, right? The mental and moral qualities distinctive of an individual. Running away was not in keeping with her character. See how character is being used there? There's quite a famous quote by Martin Luther King. I can almost hear him say this. It's been quoted so many times. You know, he made a very famous speech called the I Have a Dream speech. Everybody know who Martin Luther King is?
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. So he's the guy that fought for, you know, rights for the black people in America, right? Right. And this was his famous statement. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. You see that? Now, I quoted that to bring up this word character again, right? He wants his children to be judged by the content of their character. So that's a statement about integrity. He wants them to be judged by the kind of people they are and not just by the color of their skin. See that? Character. Character. Now, this is also another example of something called consonance. I'll define what consonance is. and then I'll demonstrate it. Consonance is a combination of sounds or musical notes that are pleasant when heard together. Okay. Now, let's look at the statement again. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they're not judged by the color of their skin. There's a K here as well. See that? C and K have both got this sound in it. K. See that? Color of their, I'll overemphasize it. Color of their skin, but by the content of their character. See that? See, there's four occurrences of that K sound, right? And if I'm saying that loud, particularly in a public speaking context, it's very, very memorable. Not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. It's almost like a drum beat. And it makes a statement very profound and noteworthy. See that? Now, this is formal speech, right? This is the kind of speech you give when you're on a platform and you've got a mic and it's a monologue. It's not a dialogue. It's not a normal conversation. You know, when Jing and I were chatting about dawn this morning, a few moments ago, and that was an informal conversation. And in an informal conversation, you would not use language like this. And I encourage all of you guys to take part and to participate and to ask questions and to answer. I've just noticed a message from Mona, who can't speak at the moment, and she says it means personality. Yes, it does. Yeah, but there's a nuance of difference between personality and character, because I could say about somebody's personality that they are a quiet person. They're of a quiet demeanor, right? Demeanor is another good word we should come back to, right? So I could say Mona is of a quiet demeanor or personality, right? Which is describing the way a person kind of behaves, right? But that's not a statement about their integrity. Character is more of a statement about their integrity. You know, would they steal from their boss? Would they tell a lie? Would they cheat? That's what character has got to do with. And somebody who has character is somebody who is got a very positive character. Right. Somebody who would not compromise their principles and so on. Does that make sense?
Yes, teacher. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So,
So the other word that I came across by serendipity there, and just trying to describe, was demeanor. And demeanor is your outward behavior or bearing. So he or she is of a happy demeanor, right? They're happy. So your demeanor.
Demeanor.
So demeanor is your outward behavior, right? So Shweta has a very, we would say, happy-go-lucky demeanor. Happy-go-lucky, right? Very positive, right? Happy-go-lucky. Cheerfully unconcerned about the future. Key thing is cheerful. Somebody who's cheerful, right? Sort of happy. That's what a happy-go-lucky person is. Not worried about anything. Happy-go-lucky.
Happy-go-lucky. Happy-go-lucky.
And the opposite of that would be somebody who would be morose. Remember I said it's always good to look at opposites of words? Morose. I would say the opposite of happy-go-lucky would be morose.
Morose.
Sullen, ill-tempered. She was morose and silent when she got home. I didn't know what was wrong with her. She was really quiet. She wouldn't tell me what she was thinking or what she was on her mind. Morose. You know, the way you can tell if somebody is kind of like happy or not, you know, almost by just looking at them. Before they've said a word, you can tell, are they sort of happy? Or are they down in the dumps? I often use the characters from Pooh, you know, Pooh Bear. You've got Tigger. He's got a happy-go-lucky kind of character. Or there's Eeyore. Eeyore's always down in the dumps. Yeah. So here's Tigger. Right. And he sings.
The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made in a blubber.
Right. So that's Tigger, right? So Shred is like Tigger, right? And then the opposite of that would be Eeyore, right? If I can pronounce it. Yeah, Eeyore. And Eeyore is always down in the dumps, right? He's never very happy. He's always got something to moan about. He never gets excited. Yeah? So in describing somebody's demeanor, you could say, this morning, she was like Eeyore, you know, you couldn't cheer her up. Yeah, Mona's had to go. Okay. All right. And so I'll ask a question now. Are we all on the same page?
Yes.
Yeah. We're all on the same page. What does it mean to be on the same page?
Starting in the same way.
You're getting warm.
Understanding how to describe people like here, like this.
Yeah. Yes, the idea is, let's say we were doing a play, right? And we're reading a script, right? So we're all going to be in a movie, okay? We're making a movie. I'm the director, and you guys are all the stars, right? And Wenjing is the lead female, and Wee Son is the lead male, right? So you're the couple, and the rest are supporting actors. Now we're going to read through the script, right? So we all get our copy of the script and start going through it. And right, let's get started. But we need to be on the same page, right? We're going to do page 6, right? Let's go through page 6. So I've got my script here for page 6, right? Now we need to be, in order to read this script together, we all need to be on the same page, right? Now we're going to go from page 6 to page 7, right? Now, I'm guessing that's the etymology of it, right? Of where it comes from. It's really a statement or a question about, have we all got a shared understanding of what we've just been talking about? Makes sense? Are we on the same page? I shouldn't be typing it into YouTube. I'm gonna put it on here. On the same page means thinking in a similar fashion. There you go. To have the same amount of knowledge or to have the same kind of understanding about a situation as others do. Example, before we make any decisions today, I'd like to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Yeah? Okay. So we talked quite a lot about character. We talked about integrity. We talked about demeanor. We talked about backbone. We talked about aspersions and casting aspersions. Before that, we had a conversation about the dawn and twilight and gloaming. And dusk. So we also talked about serendipity, coming upon something by chance, but it's a good chance. Yeah. So you could say, when Jing once worked for me, and that was serendipity, right? It was a good thing, but it was purely by chance because she was studying in Edinburgh and went for a job at the Royal Bank over the summer and ended up working with me. Right, that was a serendipity. Right? Okay, so I'll come up with something else. No, we've we've covered reasonable amount of ground. But does anyone have any questions for me? And if not, I'll come up with another word or two to look at.
Sir, happy-go-lucky, please could you repeat it again?
Yeah.
And one more, demeanor side.
Yeah, okay. So
Just a brief,
yeah. So happy-go-lucky, the meaning is cheerfully unconcerned about the future. So if I was describing somebody, I might describe them as worrisome, right? That's an opposite of happy-go-lucky. Worrisome means they're full of worries, right? They don't know what's happening, what's going to happen today, or what's going to happen to me, am I going to get my exams, right? That's a worrisome person. Flip the coin, the opposite of that is somebody who's quite happy-go-lucky, right? They're not worried about anything, they don't worry. Okay, and both these expressions, happy-go-lucky and worrisome, are descriptions of somebody's demeanor, which is their outward behavior. Right? I'm not sure. I'm not. It doesn't like that. It won't let me.
Worrisome.
Causing anxiety or concern. Similar words to worrisome: worrying, daunting, alarming, perturbing, trying, taxing, vexatious. Worrisome, right? Happy-go-lucky. Synonyms: easygoing, carefree, casual, free and easy, devil may care, blithe, nonchalant, insouciant, blasé, unconcerned, untroubled, unworried. See, I said the opposite was worrisome. See? So these are other words that you could use in place of happy-go-lucky. Do you feel you're getting there in terms of understanding this expression?
Yes, sir. It's totally clear now.
Okay. I mean, I could describe Shweta as a very happy-go-lucky person, and that would be a compliment.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Now, and so the other word you asked me about was demeanor. Let's look up demeanor synonyms. Manner, air, attitude, appearance, look, aspect, mien, cast, bearing, carriage, way of carrying oneself, behavior, conduct. And looking at all of those words and just sort of processing all of those words in your head, can you begin to see what demeanor is touching on? It's your outward behavior. It's not a statement about your inward feelings necessarily. So I could describe Wen Jing's demeanor as friendly. She's friendly. That would be a good description of her demeanor, right? Her outward, right? Or today, for some reason, Wee Son seemed sad. I couldn't put my finger on it. His demeanor was sad, but I couldn't put my finger on it. So two things there. One, a statement about his demeanor. His outward appearance today seemed a bit sad. Maybe he had some bad news. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it means I couldn't figure out what it was. I couldn't figure out the cause. We use this expression to say that we can't explain or fully understand something. There you go. Everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think we'll probably call it quits there today. It's very late for Tahui. It's now 3 a.m. in the morning and she wants to go to bed and get some beauty sleep. And the rest of us needs to go about our day. It's 9 o'clock now for me, so I've got things to do. But nice to see everybody. I take it this is a good time for you guys. And so if you're happy, I'll do another class at this time next Sunday morning.
Yes, I'm ready.
And I'm not sure about the Thursday class. I can't remember what I'm doing work-wise, but I think Thursday's okay. So I'll be having a class at 4 normal time, 4 p.m. UK. That might work for you, Tahui, because it will be early in the morning for you. If you're 6 hours behind, that would be 10 a.m. in the morning on Thursday. Does that sound like it would work for you, or have you got class then?
Yeah, it's okay for me.
Okay. So that's 10 a.m. Thursday is the next class, but I'll put all the announcements in the group chat as usual. Okay. Have a nice day, everyone.
Have a nice day too.
Bye-bye. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Have a nice day.
Thanks, Wee-san.